In the room, the elephant in the room that I personally wasn't expecting was the fact that Caitlin Clark did not start once again. And like I've told you guys in previous uploads, like, it doesn't matter when you're talking about the basketball of it, because Team USA is likely going to dominate. They're likely going to dominate every single game in this qualifying tournament. And so who's starting, who's not starting. Also, if you look at the time at the end of the game, Caitlin Clark actually ended the game. Well, Paige Bueckers had the highest minutes played, the most minutes played.
That frustration you just heard? That's coming from someone who just watched the biggest name in women's basketball get benched again. Team USA just demolished Italy 93-59 in the FIBA World Cup qualifying tournament. And Caitlin Clark, the player who single-handedly changed the trajectory of women's basketball, didn't start again. This isn't about winning or losing. Team USA is going to dominate these games regardless of who's on the floor. This is about something else entirely. And the pattern we're seeing reveals a disconnect that goes way deeper than basketball strategy.
And then Caitlin Clark was a close second to that. So she still ended up playing a lot of minutes. However, I just don't understand it. I don't understand why they haven't started her yet, because there are only 2 players on this Team USA who hasn't started. Caitlin Clark and Rae Burrell. Now, Rae Burrell was added to this team because Sonia Citron and Aaliyah Boston ended up being injured and they weren't able to make it. So she was a late minute addition to the.
Here's what makes this particularly telling. Paige Bueckers got a starting nod in one game. Angel Reese started in another. Kiki Rice got her chance to start. These are all younger players making their senior national team debuts, just like Caitlin Clark. They're all in the same position, all proving themselves at this level for the first time. But there are only 2 players on this entire Team USA roster who haven't started a single game in this tournament. Caitlin Clark and Rae Burrell. And Rae Burrell was a last-minute addition to replace injured players Sonia Citron and Aaliyah Boston. She literally wasn't supposed to be on this team.
Just don't truly understand. Like, I don't understand it. Think about it this way. Think if Victor Wembanyama, because he's also in his 3rd year in the NBA, he's playing for Team France and he's clear, or say he's playing for Team USA, even in that regard. Say he's playing for Team USA. Wemby would be starting. Victor Wembanyama would be starting. He wouldn't be coming off of the bench because he's that great of a player. But Caitlin, it's almost like, sorry, I'm rambling here, but it's almost like you can't even make that comparison because Victor Wembanyama didn't change the game of basketball the way that Caitlin Clark changed the women's game of basketball. So I just don't.
Let's put this in perspective with a comparison that makes the absurdity crystal clear. Victor Wembanyama is in his 3rd year in the NBA, same as Caitlin is in her 3rd year as a professional. If Victor Wembanyama suited up for Team France or even Team USA, would he be coming off the bench? Would he be the only star player not getting a starting opportunity? The answer is obvious. He'd be starting every single game because he's that caliber of player. But here's what makes the Caitlin Clark situation even more stark than that comparison. Victor Wembanyama, as dominant as he is, didn't fundamentally alter the entire landscape of professional basketball the way Caitlin Clark transformed women's basketball. We're talking about a player who brought 3 million viewers to women's college basketball games. A player who sold out arenas across the country. A player who made the WNBA relevant to casual sports fans who'd never watched a game before. And she's coming off the bench in a qualifying tournament while players with a fraction of her impact get starting nods.
To understand the chemistry between one another, because there have been so many instances on offense that players are just getting in the way of other players. What I also have noticed over these past 2 games is there has been a lot more isolation basketball, which I don't necessarily love. But I think you could also attribute some of the isolation basketball to the coaching style, because the coaches have to figure out the offenses that work with this group that you have. The high pick and roll has proven to work against every single team, and I personally don't think that they run it enough. Caitlin Clark is always looking for the roll on the high screen and roll. They've run it for Paige. They have run.
Now pay attention to this tactical breakdown, because this is where the basketball argument completely falls apart. The high pick and roll has been the most effective offensive action Team USA has run in both games so far. Every single time they run it, the roll man is open. Every single time the defense collapses on the roller, the 3-point shot opens up. And who runs the pick and roll better than anyone on this roster? Caitlin Clark. She's been finding the roller consistently, making the right read every time. And when defenses adjust, she's knocking down the open 3 that the defense gives her. Both Puerto Rico and Italy have thrown zone defenses at Team USA, and the zone buster is simple: hit three-pointers. Make the defense extend. Force them out of the zone, but instead, we're seeing mid-range jumpers and long twos. Possessions are getting bogged down with isolation basketball and shots from 15 feet that are objectively less efficient than either attacking the rim or stepping back one more step for a three-pointer. The women's game is less athletic than the men's game, that's just a fact, which means the floor gets congested more easily, which means spacing is even more critical, which means three-point shooting becomes even more valuable.
We've got to shoot more threes. 93 points and only having shot 23s. We've got to shoot more three-pointers. I'm so sorry. And I was screaming about that during the live stream. There are so many mid-range shots and long twos. I personally don't like that. And maybe I've been watching too much NBA lately, but the game is evolving and women's basketball has to evolve along with it. Women's basketball has to become quicker. Women's basketball, because it plays to our strengths as well. We play a more skill-based game than the men. We do not.
This is the evolution women's basketball desperately needs, and it's being ignored in real time. The NBA figured this out years ago. The three-point revolution wasn't just about entertainment, it was about efficiency and spacing. When you can't rely on pure athleticism to create separation, you create it with floor spacing and ball movement. Women's basketball plays a more skill-based game than men's basketball. That's not a criticism, that's an observation. And that skill-based game should naturally emphasize three-point shooting even more than the NBA does, but we're watching Team USA settle for contested mid-range jumpers while Caitlin Clark, one of the best three-point shooters in the world, is standing in the corner. The tickets for this game against Italy were $200 and they're only selling select seats. Most fans can't even figure out how to access these games. But the fans who are there, they're wearing Iowa jerseys, they're wearing Indiana Fever gear, they're wearing Caitlin Clark's number. They showed up for her.
12 points, she had 5 assists, and she did have 5 turnovers. However, she was still a plus 27 on the floor. And that is one thing that we've noticed, and we've kind of known this since she played at Iowa, okay? When Caitlin Clark gets on the floor and when she is playing point guard, there's a big differential there. When she's playing off the ball, it's a slow game. When she is playing point guard, the game speeds up. It speeds up almost instantly. And when she first went on the floor, they went on a bit of a run because there's so much attention that gravitates toward her on the defensive end. You have to look out for her. You have to be aware of where she is on the court. And at the same time, she always wants to push the ball.
Here's the plus minus that tells you everything you need to know about impact. Caitlin Clark finished this game with 12 points, 5 assists, and yes, 5 turnovers. But she was plus 27 on the floor. That means when she was playing, Team USA outscored Italy by 27 points. And there's a specific reason for that differential. When Caitlin Clark is running point guard, the entire pace of the game changes. It speeds up immediately. The defense has to account for her location at all times because she can hurt you from 30 feet or find the open teammate with a pass they're not expecting. We saw this at Iowa for 4 years. We're seeing it with the Indiana Fever. But in this game, there was a lineup that made absolutely no sense from a tactical standpoint. Jackie Young on the floor, Caitlin Clark on the floor, Chelsea Gray on the floor. That's 3 natural point guards on the court at the same time. And who was running the offense? Not Caitlin Clark. They had her playing off the ball while Jackie Young or Chelsea Gray brought it up.
Running point. I believe they had Jackie Young or Chelsea Gray running point. I still don't like the experimentation of playing Caitlin Clark off the ball for this reason. Caitlin Clark makes everyone better when she is playing point guard, when she has the ball in her hands, when she is able to set up the offense, when she is able to push the ball. She makes everyone better. Her assist numbers go up exponentially. It's not just about, I want Caitlin Clark to play point guard because she individually plays better at point guard. Yes, she individually plays better as point guard, but she also makes everyone else better when she is playing point guard. The game goes a lot faster. And so I don't want to see that experiment go on for much longer. And we saw that a lot last year with the Indiana Fever. Now, she was injured quite a bit last season, so I want to see what it looks like when she has fresh legs. Again, with Coach Stephanie White, if she'll try, if she'll realize that Caitlin Clark at point guard is much better than the experimentation of taking her.
This is the experimentation that needs to stop, and here's exactly why. Caitlin Clark doesn't just play better individually when she's running point guard. That would be reason enough to give her the ball, but it's not even the main reason. The main reason is that everyone else plays better when she's running point. Her assist numbers go up exponentially when she has the ball in her hands, yes, but more importantly, the offense flows. Players get the ball in their spots. The pace increases, the defense gets stretched. We saw this constantly with the Indiana Fever last season, though Kelsey Mitchell's injury complicated things. But when Clark was healthy and running point, the Fever's offensive rating jumped significantly. Now, Stephanie White is the new head coach in Indiana, and the big question is whether she'll recognize what the numbers clearly show. Will she let Caitlin Clark be Caitlin Clark? Or will we see more of this experimentation with her playing off the ball, trying to turn her into something she's not? Paige Bueckers had a solid game today, 12 points, 4 of 7 from two-point range, 1 of 1 from 3, and that three-pointer was actually an and one, which shows her ability to attack and finish through contact. But here's what needs to happen with Paige's game at this level. She needs to shoot more threes. She's a good three-point shooter, but she settles for elbow jumpers and mid-range shots too often.
For this game, you guys have been incredible on the live streams. I won't be able to go live for the game tomorrow against New Zealand. However, I do hypothesize that that is going to be a major blowout. So enjoy that game. I don't know what it's going to look like. Team USA is probably going to run away with it, but the game against Spain should also be a bit more competitive. But yeah, that's pretty much it, you guys. If you like these style of videos where I just kind of recap what happened in the game, then please give it a thumbs up. Also, let me know in the comments if you want to see more videos like this. And thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it. Click that little subscribe button because we upload new videos every single week. And with that, you guys, I'll see you next time.
So let's bring this full circle and talk about what this pattern actually means. Team USA is going to win this qualifying tournament easily. They'll probably blow out New Zealand in the next game. Spain might be more competitive, but the outcome isn't really in doubt. These games aren't about whether Team USA advances. They're about preparation and chemistry and figuring out rotations, which makes the decision not to start Caitlin Clark even more baffling. This is the time to experiment. This is when you give your best players reps in different lineups and see what works. This is when you build the chemistry that matters when the competition gets tougher. Instead, we're seeing the same pattern that's followed Caitlin Clark throughout her professional career. The reluctance to fully embrace what she brings, the constant need to make her prove herself in ways that other players don't have to. Think about the message this sends. You can be the most impactful player in women's basketball history. You can bring millions of new fans to the sport. You can sell out arenas and drive television ratings to record levels. You can be objectively one of the best players on the roster. And you'll still come off the bench while players with less impact get starting opportunities. This isn't about Caitlin Clark needing to start for her ego. This is about Team USA making decisions that don't align with basketball logic or competitive strategy. This is about a pattern of treatment that's been visible since her rookie season in the WNBA. The physical play she endured that didn't get called. The narrative that she needed to earn respect while other rookies didn't face the same scrutiny. The constant questioning of whether she deserved the attention she was getting. And now we're seeing it on the international stage. 2 games into this tournament, and the player who should be the face of this team is coming off the bench. The player who draws the fans is relegated to a reserve role. The player who makes everyone around her better is playing off the ball in lineups that don't make tactical sense. The FIBA rules are slightly different from WNBA rules, particularly around traveling violations. You have to put the ball down before you take your first step, which caught a few players today, including Paige Bueckers. That's the kind of adjustment that comes with playing international basketball. It's minor, it's correctable, and it's not what we should be focused on. What we should be focused on is this. Team USA has the opportunity to build something special with this roster. They have young talent that's going to define the next generation of women's basketball. Caitlin Clark, Paige Bueckers, Angel Reese, these are the players who will carry the sport forward. The decisions being made right now set the tone for how that journey unfolds. Starting Caitlin Clark isn't just about respecting her accomplishments, though she's earned that respect 10 times over. It's about putting your best players in position to succeed. It's about building chemistry with your primary ball handler. It's about sending a message that merit matters more than whatever unspoken factors are influencing these decisions. Because here's what happens if this pattern continues. Fans notice, players notice. The disconnect between what we're seeing on the court and what the decision makers are doing becomes impossible to ignore. and the sport that Caitlin Clark helped elevate risks alienating the very audience she brought to the game. So the question isn't whether Team USA will win these games. They will. The question is whether the people making these decisions understand what they have in Caitlin Clark. Whether they're willing to use her the way she should be used. Whether they're prepared to let the best point guard on the roster actually run the point. 2 games down, more to come, and we'll be watching to see if anything changes. Because if it doesn't, we need to start asking much harder questions about why the player who changed everything is still being treated like she has something left to prove.